Oh, what a fun little pool party they have over there. Oh, what could have been? But of course we can't have nice things, as we can't even have the Epstein client list, as now the demand for it, I think, is reaching an all-time high, as the information war, as well as the disinformation and targeted attack campaigns, have started in a very weird, obscure way. And I wanted to talk about something that I find a little bit bewildering, and that's a lot of people being mad at the people now asking for the list to be made public. What in the world's going on here? All of this as this administration, I believe, is absolutely not doing itself any favors here. What is a favorable explanation to them regarding all of this? Well, I have one theory that I will share at the end of this particular video that I think is absolutely worth looking into and delving into. That could be a play within a play. I'll explain more in further videos, but we have a lot of important developments surrounding the story of the decade that a lot of powerful people want to go away, as now there's a lot of pressure against politicians like MTG that are facing a lot of significant backlash. Now, before getting into some of her comments and some of what the victims are saying, and this larger question of will they release their own lists or not, whether that will be safe or not, there's a new development around that that's pretty big. Subscribe. Click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all the time you spent with us. And if you appreciate us talking about this story for over 15 plus years, that notification button means a lot to us. Now, MTG came out along with Massey and Roacon, members of Congress, as well as other members of Congress that are working behind the scenes, like Lauren Boebert and Paulina Luna, towards getting accountability and transparency surrounding this particular case here. And she came out and says that the politicians, bureaucrats, and elites who turned a blind eye must be, quote, held accountable.
It's a scary thing to name names, but I will tell you, I'm not afraid to name names. And so if they want to give me a list, I will walk in that Capitol on the House floor, and I'll say every damn name that abused these women. I can do that for them, and I'd be proud to do it. Now,
those are big words here, as of course the victims yesterday, some of them are saying, you know what, we're just going to compile our own list now, and then we're just going to potentially release it to the general public, as now we're getting a potential own list, as of course this was used as a PR campaign. And let's be honest with ourselves, this was a kind of press conference meant to galvanize attention and meant to push the federal government to release a lot of the files, a lot of the photos, a lot of the videos, a lot of the financial records and documentation that verifies a lot of the stories. Because let's be honest with ourselves, these women are going to come out here and they're going to say, yeah, these people and these people. And a lot of people say they're going to be facing a lot of lawsuits, which, of course, there has been a lot of lawsuits, especially surrounding a lot of the billionaires here that have been serving people, telling them to shut up, telling them to be quiet. There's a lot of threats. There's a lot of harassment. But also, more importantly, everyone's going to be like, I don't believe these women. Where's the proof? Well, the government has the proof. This is Thomas Massey is pushing the Epstein Files Transparency Act, something that the White House has announced is a hostile act against it. And it shouldn't be, since Donald Trump and this administration and many of its most prominent proxies and figures and representatives and spokespersons and media personalities were all calling for its release. Now we're getting the closest thing that we might get to it is some of these victims coming together and saying, yeah, let's compile the list. Let's see who was there.
One thing that's very clear, when people say, please share names, there are names that are very well known, like that of Les Wexner, who everyone knows supplied an enormous amount of Epstein's, financial wealth and allowed this operation to happen. So it's
What did Les Wexner get? He's still around. He's still walking around. Why hasn't the DOJ investigated him or looked into him or even questioned him? As that's a very important question, since the financial records and transactions would prove a lot of this stuff. But again, the financial records transactions still have not been made public, as of course there was billions of dollars being moved around here.
I think confusing to many of us why there have not been more ramifications for him, and he's been seen as a victim when clearly I believe there's more to it.
Yeah, that's one name that was named here as Thomas Massie and Rowan went on CNN and then had this to announce.
Congressman Massey, can I ask you about that? Because you're talking about people who don't maybe want their names out there associated with Jeffrey Epstein. These women today, one thing that they said that they are willing to do if these documents don't get released is compile their own, basically, list of people around Jeffrey Epstein and release.
And now, with all of this happening, for some reason, there's been a huge backlash. The quartering, Tim Pool, they're like, oh, they just lost all their credibility. Tim Pool, I just watched the clip. They just lost all their credibility. And I'm like, this is the closest we have ever come towards actually naming some legitimate names that's being kind of organized and coalesced here. Now, some people, as soon as I heard this, my first initial reaction was, you don't threaten to do this, you just do this, right? That's my only critique here. And I understand that critique. Did they lose all their credibility? I don't think a lot of this was actually kind of planned out, as a lot of people kind of think it was. Some people were like, oh, absolutely it was. We'll find out more details when more information comes to light about all of this. But I don't see how you're going to say they lost all their credibility. I don't think that's the case here, in my own personal opinion, and I disagree with Tim Pool here on this particular matter. Now, before playing the rest of this clip, because Thomas Massey is going to have a big announcement here, we wanted to tell you about wearechange.shop. And by the way, I still respect Tim and Jeremy, and we disagree on this, and it's okay to disagree. It's okay to have different opinions, and I think we should be able to engage in a civil conversation that I think is respectable. And I think that's what's amazing about this space, is that we could actually do that. Still, all my highest regards and respects to both of those individuals. And they're both awesome, and they're both great. Anyway, you know what else is great? wearechange.shop, as our ashwagandha. There's some pretty powerful stuff here. I love this stuff. It helped me tremendously during severe amounts of stress and anxiety that I was dealing with when I was very, very unhealthy and was making very poor decisions surrounding my health with really horrible activities like sitting down all the time. I never prioritized my sleep. I ate bad foods. I traveled. I never cared about my sleep. I never cared about my circadian rhythm. And then I was like, why am I all horrible? Why do I feel horrible? And then I'm like, well, ashwagandha could help me relax as I get my life in order and get my sleep schedule. I get my gym schedule. I start eating a little bit better. But ashwagandha was there for me when I needed it most. Ashwagandha, as we have Fit with Dr. Sam saying, is, quote, the most popular testosterone booster in the world, ashwagandha. And again, it's not just for men, it's for women too. I know a lady that was dealing with a lot of stress, a lot of high cortisol. Doctor gave her ashwagandha and she felt amazing. She's my personal friend. And then I gave her some ashwagandha as well. Listen, my testosterone score went up over 200 points. Was it ashwagandha? Maybe. That was one part. Another part was lifting, squatting, sprinting. Best thing you could do for your testosterone. But I had ashwagandha as well, and then my testosterone increased 200 points. I really love this, as people call this the Indian ginseng. It is classified as an adaptogen. I do not recommend people take it more than for 1 month, more than for 30 days. Of course, less stress, less cortisol equals higher testosterone. Lots of people are dealing with a lot of incredible stress. I just had a friend that dealt with a very severe loss of a loved one. And I'm like, take some anxiety. As a lot of people report, taking ashwagandha can give you, quote, more energy throughout the day, improved mood and reduced anxiety, better sleep quality, stronger S drive, faster muscle recovery after workouts. And it's really, really great stuff. And I love it. And as people are saying, ashwagandha is generally safe for most men when taken in recommended doses. But if you have thyroid issues or are on medications, talk to a doctor first. Exactly. Side effects are rare, but can include mild stomach upset if you take it on an empty stomach. I recommend taking something at a different time of day. They work differently. They're activated differently. But with ashwagandha, I take it with my lunch usually. But again, do your own research before putting anything into your own body. Some people just shouldn't take it, especially pregnant women should not take it. So do your own research. wearechange.shop, ashwagandha, get it while supplies last. Now, let's get back to this very big announcement here from Thomas Massie and Rowan that just announced, you know what? Those list of names, they might not say them, but we might.
release that. You actually said tonight that you have a plan to potentially help them with that.
Yeah. Yeah, so the survivors said that they had decided to compile their own list, but the reality is if they try to release that list, they're going to be sued into homelessness.
Now, some people say, oh, that's a cop-out. No, that's not true at all. Well, listen, there have been a lot of lawsuits, and there is the fact that Virginia Roberts was sued by Dershowitz and had to recount a lot of what she said previously beforehand. There's also, this is why there's a push for the government to release this document. Because there are some victims that are a little kooky. Okay. Listen, facing trauma, especially as like a 14-year-old child with Epstein doing whatever he wants to you, it's going to traumatize you. It's going to mess you up. Some of these women aren't mentally right. And let's just be honest with ourselves. Not all of them. But this is where people are going to pinpoint and say, oh, no. See, they're not credible. I think they are credible, but I still am with the main point of, hey, government, release the files, release the information, release the financial records. Have an independent third party that at least vets these videos, right? So we understand what's really on them. Don't release them, obviously, but like have an independent third party be like, yeah, we went through the video, or have Congress go through the videos and be like, yep, this is what we saw.
They will be attacked. They will have death threats. And so,
well, they already have been attacked. They already had major death threats. Now they're probably going to have more. Let's just be honest with ourselves. That's just the way that the internet works. Anyone on the internet has to do that. And this is where a lot of people are saying, oh, he's obfuscating. I don't think he is, but I believe it's important to be as we have to be very careful here with all the facts and all the details here.
So what my colleague Marjorie Taylor Greene volunteered to do, and I've volunteered to do as well, is to read that list on the floor of the House of Representatives, because our founders put into the Constitution speech or debate immunity, which says that we can't be prosecuted for what we say on the floor of the House. So we're willing to help those survivors get those names out there. And as my colleague Rokana has said, we trust the public to determine who were donors to the Epstein Scholarship Fund and who were users of the women who were exposed to sexual abuse, to differentiate between those two groups of people.
Yeah, the differentiating is going to be the most important aspect here, because now it gets sloppy. Now it gets a little loose here. Okay, who's associated, who's hanging out, who was actually participating, right? There's a big difference between the two. Still, there should be scrutiny on all of the parties involved here, rightfully so. But now there's a very big campaign here. I asked, wait, I don't get what's going on here. Why are people so triggered? As there has been what I believe an orchestrated outrage campaign right now happening against Thomas Massie, who's saying, hey, release the documents. A lot of the same people that were cheerleading saying, yes, Donald Trump said we should release the Epstein files. Yes. Yeah. Now, when Massie says it, no. Why? Because, listen, a lot of these people tied to some of the big donors. That's one. Two, being paid. Three, are individuals that prioritize people over principles. All right, and there's those three type of individuals. They got the orders, right? And they understand now this issue is inconvenient for Donald Trump. I would argue that Donald Trump made it inconvenient for himself, and he can make it very convenient for everybody and still do an about face and still do something incredible. And again, this is what we expected. The guy got shot at. We thought the gloves were going to be off. We thought he was going to go after the swamp. Right? We want that. And I think pushing Trump. And again, I think a lot of the people during the press conference are very careful not to attack Trump. Right? Rightfully so. Virginia Giuffre said he was innocent. The lawyer came out and said Trump helped me out in 2009 against Epstein. He's one of the few, if not the only person, powerful person. So listen, I think the press conference, there's some people holding some signs behind, and that's what people are using. There's some random person holding a sign against Donald Trump. Okay. Some random person holding a sign is not the same as just an attempt to attack Donald Trump, as of course there was an effort to give Trump props for his help against Epstein in 2009. All right? Trump cooperated and helped the victims in 2009. The victims were like, can you please help us now? Can you please stop calling this a hoax? It's not a hoax. And a lot of the responses here are pretty interesting. Now, people are saying, no, this is all an agenda. I don't know. I disagree with that. Now, listen, I don't think there's any convincing evidence suggesting that Trump did anything wrong here with Epstein when Epstein was doing his horrible stuff. There's no evidence, right? I still agree with Massey, though, that we need the files released. I think that Libertarian, pinpointed it pretty correctly here. Trump calling it a hoax is just making it more of a scandal. I don't know why he's saying that. He shouldn't be saying that. He should be saying, let's just release what we can. Let's just get it out. Now, the people bashing Massey today, again, a lot of them, maybe they're just wrapped up in the cult of personality, but I think a lot of them are orchestrated, organized, and being paid off here. Now, MTG saying, yeah, we're going to read the list on the House floor. That is huge. That is major. That is something that I think absolutely 110% is the closest we're ever going to come. And I don't know why all these influencers are mad about this. Why are you mad? Why are you mad? This is great news.
Well,
This is a clear, there's a clear line right there. And
read it
like
and
you
weep.
said,
Yeah.
Are we supposed to deny what our eyes and ears tell us? And absolutely not. And I want to follow up on something else, Benny. It's not anti-Semitic to talk about this. And it's not anti-Semitic to question any foreign country's government, secular government, including Israel. And I think that's the right thing for people to do, is to always question any foreign government's motives, especially when they come to our country constantly demanding money and demanding help and support. Unfortunately, I don't see enough of the American people in the halls of Congress demanding help and demanding support and demanding funding. But I do happen to see a lot of foreign countries' leaders and diplomats coming to Washington on too frequent of a basis.
Yeah, we fund a lot of other countries' borders better than we fund our own. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, that's correct. Yes. I have an amendment, actually. I have several amendments going for our NDAA that is being worked on right now. This is our Department of Defense funding, and it's over $800 trillion, actually close to $900 trillion is the total bill. But unfortunately, there's money in there for foreign aid, and I'm introducing amendments to take it out. I'm introducing an amendment to take out the $500 million for Israel. They already receive $3.4 billion annually every single year through the State Department. I've got those same amendments on Taiwan for $500 million and for Jordan for $500 million.
Yeah, say what you may about MTG, but she's facing a lot of criticism and backlash right now. And again, she's one of the, as people are right, she's one of the few lawmakers willing to connect some of the dots here. Now, listen, what's happening here is very weird, very strange. And a lot of people are just like, shut up, stop talking about it. Well, listen, this is something I've been talking about for 15 years. Just because it's politically inconvenient doesn't mean I'm going to stop talking about it. And we have to ask the question, why is it politically inconvenient? It's politically inconvenient because these people made it politically inconvenient for themselves. They could have done the right thing here, as of course there's something else at play here, something else going on here. And I said I would give you my theory to what potentially is going on here. Now, again, Nancy Mace is coming out and saying Prince Andrew should be in handcuffs, as she's talking about how she had a full-blown panic attack after hearing what was happening to some of these women. Project Veritas is a video. We'll get into that in the next video, but here's my theory, right? Trump gets into office. Like, okay, let's get rid of the Epstein files. Men in dark suits come in and like, no, you're not. No, you're not. Listen, this is a theory. This doesn't mean it's true. This is a theory that's extremely favorable to Trump. All right, and you're going to hear it. Trump comes into office, I'm going to release the file. Men in black suits, no, the hell you're not. No. Well, Trump's like, I'm going to do it anyway. I got shot at. You guys tried to kill me before. I don't care. He's like, well, no. We are going to do X, Y, and Z. Take out your sons, bankrupt you, destroy you, put you in jail, impeach you, take you out, assassinate you again. And I'm like, Trump's like, I've been through that again. CIA takes out their heart attack gun. We'll shoot you right now. He's like, fine, I won't. I won't. But Trump, being the person he is, he's like, okay, I can't release this list. I'm a little guilty. What if I just look really guilty right now and make it very obvious? Because everyone now is going to be like, yeah, something else is bigger at play here. What if I signal by doing an extremely poor job? What if I make everyone aware of this and I blow this up and make this more of a spectacle? Because I want it to be a spectacle because I can't really do anything about it. But at least I could bring mass amounts of attention to it. That's the favorable theory to Donald Trump here. That I think could be plausible. What do you think? Let me know. Again, extremely generous theory, just a theory based off speculation, no evidence at all except circumstantial tidbits of information that I extrapolated together into this cockamamie theory. Is this cockamamie theory a reality? Well, we're at a point right now, anything can be a reality. What do you think the reality is? Let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for doing your own homework and research into ashwagandha. Really great for you. This is like the cheat sheet for me. I love this stuff. wearechange.shop. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys taking care of your health. Again, all these other podcasters and influencers are like, go gamble, go drink booze. I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Go take an adaptogen that could potentially help you out, level you up to the next level. That's the difference. If you appreciate it, you're here at the right channel. Subscribe, click the notification button. Stay tuned for more beautiful and amazing human beings here on youtube.com/wearechange.